Hello and welcome back. If this is your first time joining us, my name is Shole Talbert. I am a certified master trainer and coach of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP for short, and I specialize in transforming lives. We have been talking about how we can change our life and be happy. So, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is that you're in charge of your thinking. The bad news is that you're in charge of your thinking. That's the bad news. We're aware of a tiny fraction of the thinking that goes out in our minds, and we can control only a tiny part of our conscious thinking. The vast majority of our thinking efforts goes on unconsciously, which makes up around 95% of our brain power and handles everything your body needs to function properly, from eating and breathing to digesting, making memories. Yeah. A new study published in the Journal of Nature Communications, carried out by psychologists at Queen's University in Kingston, Canada, suggests that an average person has 6,200 thoughts per day. That's wonderful, but only one or two of these thoughts are likely to reach into conscious at a time. Now, looking at our brain, the brain is made up of a tiny nerve cells called neurons, our nervous system, and neurotransmitters, the channels, the chemicals that makes our nervous system go through, transmitting messages between the neurons or from neuron to muscles. Now, billions of neurotransmitters molecules work constantly to keep our brains functioning, managing everything from our breathing to our heartbeat to our learning and concentration level. They can also affect a variety of psychological functions such as fear, our mood, pleasure, and joy. So how? The brain builds up all its concepts by a law of associative memory. For example, ideas, thoughts, and feelings are all constructed and interconnected in this neural net called our nervous system, and all have a possible relationship with one another via neurotransmitters. So, neurotransmitters bathe every single cell in our body, and that means, translation, that means every thought you think, every thought you think, every thought you think has an influence. Every thought that you think has an influence on your body. By the way, this is the connection between the mind and the body. This is the proof of the body-mind connection. We know physiologically that nerve cells that fire together wire together. If you practice something over and over and over again, those nerve cells have a long-term relationship with each other. If you get angry on a daily basis, if you get frustrated on a daily basis, if you suffer on a daily basis, if you give reasons for the victimizations in your life, you are rewiring and allowing your nervous system and the neural network to, on a daily basis, to go down the same pathway. They have a long-term relationship with all those nerves called what? Identity. We also know that nerve cells that don't fire no longer wire together. They lose their long-term relationship because every time we interrupt that thought process that produces a chemical response in our body, every time we interrupt it, those nerve cells that are connected to each other start breaking the long-term relationship. When we start interrupting and observing, not by a stimulus and response in that automatic reaction, but by observing the effects it takes, then we are no longer the body-mind connections emotional person that's responding to its environment as if it is automatic. Now, if every thought you think has an influence on your body, and statistically, you've got about 6,200 thoughts going through your mind every day, and 95% of our thinking, the thinking efforts goes on unconsciously. How many of those thoughts are toward what you want? And how many of those thoughts are toward what you don't want? Because if you're focusing on what you don't want, you're taking your neurotransmitters and you are transmitting them from the mind to the body. It's very simple. If you honestly believe you can do something, you have much more power to do it, like Roger Bannister. Everybody believed except a couple of guys. One was the Australian and the other was a Brit guy. Nobody else believed it. These guys actually believed they could do that. They believed that it was possible to do it, and they did it. And today, high school kids routinely run a mile like in less than 4 minutes in practice, routinely. That makes the difference between people who are able to heal this ease in their body and people who don't. That makes the difference between people who make it financially, regardless of their age, gender, background, conditions, and people who don't. This is the difference between people who have great relationships and people who don't. This is the difference between people who heal cancer and people who don't. The people who do all these things truly believe that they can. Now, the question is, what's your focus? Where are you focusing? Here is where it all starts. It all starts in the deeply unconscious, because the thoughts that you have come from somewhere. Thank you for giving me your valuable time. I appreciate you. If you got value, please be sure to subscribe and come back and visit us as we dig deeper and deeper into our behaviors and beliefs and ways we can permanently change what's not working in our life. If you're ready to grow personally or professionally, or you may have an interest in becoming a certified coach, I teach what I do. Or you may want a one-on-one coaching. Spend some time here, take a look around, and then be sure to reach out to me at 949-522-1615 or email me info@nlpsuccesscoaches.com. This is Shole Talbert wishing you well. See you soon.